One of the most important facets of any business is customer service. In business, you are not only selling a product or a service, but an experience. Providing exceptional customer service and developing real relationships with your clients means increased sales, retain customers, new customers via word of mouth, and a positive reputation. You're listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Benjamin Del Grosso gives you the ins and outs of one of the most underlooked aspects in business today. Improve your customer service and watch your business skyrocket.
2, 1.
Now, here's your host, Benjamin Del Grosso.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have a special guest. She's got, she's been a professional dancer for many years. She's been self-employed for 20 years. So today we have Jennifer. Jennifer, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us, what you're doing, how you got there.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, my name is Jen Vossmer. I'm out in Vegas. So right now I'm a licensed health advisor, but he was correct. I was a professional performer and choreographer for about 20 years. I still do shows here and there, but my main focus has switched over to being a licensed health advisor.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, watching one of your videos where you're talking about how you were 18 years old performing, you were in Vegas performing, and then next thing you know, you're on a cruise ship and you're in Finland.
Yes.
So what kind of experience was that? And you had to go and you had to really give a great customer experience every time you were on a cruise ship. You're always on, you're always performing. So could you talk a little bit about that experience and what you had to do and portray? Or
yeah. So, I was out in Vegas my senior year. And prior to that, senior year, everybody's always applying to colleges. So when my principal asked me, he was like, "So Jen, what school are you applying to?" And I'm like, "I'm going to go dance." And he was like, "Where?" And I was like, "I don't know, but that's my passion. That's what I'm going to do." So then when I was out in Vegas performing, we were at the nationals competition and I went to this audition. And like you said, I was off to Finland. Doing the cruise ship, it was awesome. I didn't really have a normal experience because that was my first job away. So I had so many people coming on the ship. So it was a brand new ship built in Finland, but it actually ported out of Puerto Rico. We went to Aruba, St. Thomas, Curacao, and St. Martin. So a bunch of my friends came on, a bunch of my family. There was one of my friends cruised with me for like 2 months. So the experience was a little bit different, but for customer service wise, we did a couple shows. It wasn't one of the cruise ships where we had to do a lot of the duties, but as a performer, as a worker on the ship, I mean, we're constantly, if somebody has a question, I'm not going to be like, "Sorry, that's not my job." You're always on. That's just, and I feel like that in every day of my life. It's like, if somebody asks you for help, I'm always inclined to say, "Oh, I'll try to help you," or "I'll try to find somebody who can help you." But that's how it was on the cruise ship constantly. You were a known person on the cruise ship because you're a performer. So you definitely are on 24/7, but I loved it. I love helping people. And it's just something natural if somebody asks you a question, it's like, "Yeah, let me see if I can help you with that."
that's awesome. Yeah, no, because it's very important. So I just want to say, has that helped you, that experience, to where you are now? Right?
Oh, yeah.
In terms of you have to be on, you have to be able to give that customer service, because now I'm assuming you've probably worked more of a working at home in a virtual environment, and you're talking online with lots of people. So has that helped you with?
Yeah, 100% it has, because with entertainment, we also do, I worked a lot with the mayor out here as one of the ambassadors for Las Vegas. So I've traveled around, I've talked about Vegas, but regardless of the shows, you'll have meet and greet afterwards where you're talking with, the clients who just watched the show. And then when you're just around doing little gigs for different banquets and you're a showgirl in costume and you're sitting there having conversation, it just really opens your eyes and lets you be able to start conversation from nothing and just get to know people. And that's what, as a licensed health advisor, when I call these people, they don't know me. They, they don't know my background. So all they have to go off of is our screen share that we're doing and the conversation that we're having. So it definitely helps to be able to have that conversation, but to have it as if you're a real person, not like you're a salesperson, that you're relatable and that you honestly are trying to genuinely put them into a good position. And, again, it's a win because they don't know you. They just met you. They're just going off of your voice and talking on the phone.
So this is a interesting thing. So I was just thinking, the difference, like when you're performing, and the difference between now, like now with your current job, you have to build that rapport. You have to get to know that person. You have to ask questions. You have to make sure they trust you. In your prior job, right? Would I say, would it be right to say that those people kind of were more open and just talking about anything because they just felt like they probably weren't ever going to see you again because you were performing, right? So it was just like open door policy conversation. Don't you find that weird, that mindset? Because I even know, like, I've been at the restaurant. It's like, I'll say something completely out because it's like, what are the chances I'm ever going to see this server ever again, right?
Right.
But then if I'm on the phone with like someone like you and you're, talking to me about, health insurance or something like that, I might be like, well, I don't really know you, so I don't know if I want to tell her that information, right? Like, do you find like there's a lot more rapport that needs to be?
Oh, yes, 100%. There definitely is. But for instance, I had a client that I signed up from back in December, and she's actually a local out here in Vegas. And super sweet. She reached out to me on Facebook. Facebook I love because people actually get to see you. They get to see, oh, she has a family, people's reviews and whatnot. But like my client's relationship and myself, like I take really great pride in it, and I am available to my clients all the time. So anyway, she had called me and she was like, Jen, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Congratulations. She's like, she was just telling me her feelings. She's like, I'm really scared. This is my first one. And so I was just having this conversation. So when that question, you definitely build the rapport, but I feel that if it comes across and it's genuine, that it's a lot easier for people to trust you. And again, she felt that comfortable enough to have a conversation with me about how she was feeling about being pregnant. And I'm just her licensed health advisor. But I love it. I love building that relationship, just like I love performing for so many years. It's just on a different type of stage. There was lights and glamour. In here, performing, you're putting smiles on people's faces. Doing this, I'm also putting smiles on people's faces because I'm giving them the security. So I love it. It's weird how I can be a performer and go into selling health insurance, and still love it and be passionate about it. I think that it's awesome. And that's what makes the world work. Because some of my friends, they're like, you really love what you do? And I was like, it's weird, but I honestly do. I love being able to help people. And it's just awesome. I love talking to people, just kind of what you said earlier, and having a conversation. And if everybody, was more apt to just get to know people and put a good foot forward, the world would be a better place as a whole. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically pivoting. You're taking strengths that you had in your prior job, and you took those strengths and applied it to your new role. Really is really all you did. So let's I'm just gonna ask you a few questions here. Let's see, what was your most memorable experience as a customer?
As a customer, it would have to be, and this was just recent. So I have two boys, they're 7 and 10. My 10-year-old is into the video games, which I wish that they took a percentage of all the money that you put into a video game and had a savings for college with that, because I would be all set.
Hey, that could be a new job, a new business. Somebody could do that.
I mean, honestly, it would be amazing. So he was buying stuff online, but he didn't know that he was buying it. So took a look at my statement that month, and I noticed that there was over $1,000 of charges on PlayStation for Fortnite and 4 different games. And so I was like, hey, Maddie, his name is Maddox, but I call him Maddie. I was like, hey, Maddie, what's this? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, it says that it's coming from your tablet and your PlayStation name here. And he's like, no, it was free. And I'm like, Okay, the bill's right here. It was obviously not free. So anywho, I called Bank of America. And I know some people love Bank of America, some people hate them. My experience with the lady, it was just awesome because right away she started laughing. She was like, oh my gosh, I can relate. My kid did the exact same thing. And she didn't give me any trouble about, oh, is it really, did he do that? Or did you know that he did that? Did you actually do it? Because there's always different things of people trying to get refunds when they actually did buy it and they just want their money back because
Yeah.
but she didn't give me any trouble. She was really, really sweet and it got taken care of on a dime. But as customer service in a whole, if you call in and they actually do their job and listen to you on what you need help with, that's the best customer experience. And that's how it should always be. But it's not always like that. A lot of times you get stuck with automated automated tellers who are
Oh yeah.
gonna sit there and say the same thing over and over again, or you got to send emails and then they don't get back to you for a couple weeks. So that was one of my best customer experiences because she didn't give me any trouble. We had a great conversation because I was really irritated when I called in. And I just seen that my son charged over $1,000. So to
Yeah,
have somebody
yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing, you have these experiences. Like for instance, for me, I have a Rogers business phone, and I went into the thing. The user interface online was just junk.
Hmm.
But I went in, found the long distance US, added in there because I always talk to Benjamin all the time
Yeah.
down there in Vegas. And anyways, so I made sure it was added on, called him a bunch of times. Then I get my bill and it's like $100 in charges for all these calls to the States. So I call Rogers and I go, like, what's going on here? Blah, 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 blah. They said, well, we can't refund you, but we can refund you. So anyways, they gave me a credit
Mhm.
for, I don't know, about $60 out of the 100. And normally you pay about $15 a month for the thing. So, but either way, they did admit, yeah, the user interface doesn't work so well on the business side, but they still gave me something, but yeah, it was pretty good. The guy was pretty good, but I
Mhm.
mean, it was funny because I was saying to him, we're like 5 minutes into the call and he's still trying to change it. I say, see, if it's that crappy of a user interface that you're still
Right.
trying to change it 5 minutes in. I said, when I was with Bell, I could do this in 30 seconds, in and out, save it, done.
Uh-huh.
So I said, I love your guys' service because I have 5G in my basement. And I couldn't get that with Bell.
Right.
But with you, like even you're struggling with it. And that's when he laughed. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna get you some money back because obviously you're picking out how hard it is just for me.
Well, that's nice of him. Another experience. So my sons, both of them use headsets with the little microphone to play with their friends online.
Yeah.
So I go into Sprint, which is now T-Mobile, and I've been with Sprint for about 20 years as well. But I asked the lady, I say, what headphones do you recommend for kids playing PlayStation so they can talk with their friends? She recommended these one brand. They're like $250 headphones. I'm like, okay, if you say they're great, perfect, let's get them. So I get them as their Valentine's Day gift. They ended up opening them a couple weeks later because we were just busy with sports and whatnot. And the volume button doesn't work on the side. And the microphone is really low and it just wasn't the greatest. So I go in, talk to the people and they're like, these headphones have that problem. Like the actual volume button doesn't work on the headphones. And I was like, so $250 headphones, the volume button, you cannot turn it up or down. It does not work on the headphones. And they're like, no, it's one of the things that, it's kind of having a problem with here, but yeah, it just
Really?
doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, I was like, well, can I exchange these? Can we get different ones? And they're like, our policy for returns or refunds is going to be 14 days. I'm like, I'm not even asking for my money back. I just want different headphones that actually work for my sons. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, it's 14 days. I was in there on the 15th day and I was like, okay. And they're like, can we help you with anything else? And I was like, no, but you've helped me understand that I will never buy anything from you guys again. Thank you. Like zero. And it was so frustrating because literally they knew that the volume button doesn't work. They knew that they weren't that great of headphones, but yet they're still selling them. They're still recommending them to people. And they're getting, it's not the first time that they've obviously had people come back with the same issues.
So I actually had this story that's been told to me a few times by my father-in-law's friend, Doug. And he has this story about how he was working at Eaton's back in the day. And I don't know if you remember Eaton's, when Eaton's used to be around. That's an older store. Maybe it was just in Canada. I can't remember if it was in the States, but it was, like kind of like a big, kind of like a Sears, right? So way back in the day, and you got to remember he's in his, I think he's 70, around 70 now, right? So he talks about how one of his first jobs, so we're talking about 50 years ago, he's working in Eaton's in the sports department. This guy comes in, says, these skates I bought, they're junk, I want to return them, right? And Doug's like, well, you didn't even buy them from us. Yes, I did. I bought them from us. I bought them from you guys, and I want to return it, right? And his manager comes out. What seems to be the problem here? Oh, he's got some skates. He wants to return them. He didn't buy them from us. He goes, sir, let's go figure out a different pair of skates. And takes them over. They find a different pair of skates. Okay, that's $3 or something, because we're talking 50, right?
Yeah.
Guy leaves, and Doug's like, why would we take the skates back? The guy bought them from Sears. There's a Sears price tag on it. He goes, Doug, he's now an Eaton's customer. That's all that matters. Those days are gone. You know what I mean? But I mean, also Eaton's is out of business. So I mean, but I'm pretty sure there was other reasons why they went out of business than that.
Yeah.
But the whole thinking was not that they're a Sears customer. The whole thinking was, now they bought something from us and they're now an Eaton's customer.
I like that.
Right. And I remember like going, him at that age, he's young, probably 17, 18 years old, first job, going, I don't get it. Right. But he talks about it now. Like, I get it. Like, that's their customer, right? You've now invested in that person. That person's going to go, they took care of me. Bunch of suckers. I didn't even buy the skates from them. Right.
But
and then he'll probably come back and he's going to buy something else now. Right. Buy a couch or whatever. Right. Like, but that's the whole thinking, is if you take care of them and you wow them, right, they're going to keep coming back, because they're going to remember they made it easy. It was simple. Right. And that's the thing, your return process. Like I just had a client the other day. He says, this dash camera, I find it too hard to use. It just doesn't work well with me. And we talked back and forth, and he's an older gentleman. He's just getting frustrated with it. I said, you know what? This other unit is probably going to work better for you. He researched it. He watched some YouTube videos. He says, that's fine. Let's change it out. I said, that's fine. Let's change it out. No problem. At the end of the day, I just want you to have a positive experience. If you're not happy with that one, you've only had it like a week, let's just change it out. We'll get you into a different one. I'm not really worried about it. Saturday, I'm going to go see him and change him out to the other one.
Right.
I'm not worried about that. I just want to make sure he's happy, because the last thing I need is phone calls every single day for the next year because he's unhappy with it. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I can absolutely relate with that, because as an advisor, people call us or we call them, and they're like, they tell us their situation. So for instance, if I have a family, they're like, I'm paying this much on employer coverage, and I think that it's kind of outrageous, but I just want to check the prices around everywhere else. And I go through the different prices, and I'm like, well, actually, your employer is paying quite a bit. And you guys are getting a really good rate. So you're in the best position that you can be in for health coverage. And they're like, really? And I show them the different plans that are available, and I show them exactly what it is. And they're like, thank you so much. So it's not about getting the sale every time. It's genuinely about helping your client and making sure that they're in the best position. But by doing so, even if I don't sign them up on a policy or whatnot, I don't help them sign up because they're already taken care of. that's where you get referrals coming in, and you do get business that way, even though you didn't actually sign that person up, but you're doing your job as an advisor and you're helping them. Even when people call and they're like, I don't have any money, and I'm like, okay, what's your income? Can we get you qualified for Medicaid? So it's just listening to that customer or that client, and that's who you're going to constantly hear back from them. I haven't even signed some people up and they didn't even need health insurance, but I helped them with something else, and they're still sending me people because they know that I will genuinely help you and put you in the best position, whether it's with me or not. It doesn't matter. I'm just concerned that you're going to get taken care of for what you need.
Oh yeah, no. So to me, that's reciprocity, right?
Mhm.
You get out, you get what you put out, right? So if
Yes,
you're
I
putting out
love that.
positive vibes, if you're helping people out, sooner or later, it's, to me, it's good karma. It's going to come back to you. And that's the way I look at it. I mean, I could look at this as going, well, this guy's not happy with it,
Mhm.
whatever. It is what it is. That's what he picked. But at the same time, I think that's why car dealers and a lot of companies have kind of changed their ways. You can take a car, and I can't remember what it is, but I think you can, as long as you put under 1,000 kilometers or something on it, you can return it if you don't like it, right? Which the car dealer gives you that option, or they have this weird thing where they let you take it overnight, try it out, right? Which I think is weird. Like before you buy it, they just, here you go. Here's an $80,000. Go have fun with it. What do you mean it's gone in a container overseas somewhere? Like, they have these weird things they do, but at the same time, it's all to drive that customer experience, because they don't want to deal the amount of paperwork that's involved with doing a return. And I mean, that's why I try hard not to pressure any of my clients. I try and, I give them recommendations. Hey, I use this myself. It works great. I'm familiar with all the dash cameras. I've played with all of them. I've installed them all. So I'm very familiar with the positives and negatives. I try and ask questions about their lifestyle, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be, saying, oh, yeah, that doesn't really work for your lifestyle, so we probably shouldn't have sold you that one to begin with, right?
Right.
But at the same time, people's lifestyles do change. So there's only so much you can do. They move somewhere else, right?
Right.
You can't do that with a house. I really wish you could do that with a house. Buy a house, try it out for a couple of days. Yeah, I don't want this house anymore.
Nope, doesn't
That would
work.
be great. I didn't realize that at 5 a.m, the train goes by this house every day at 5 a.m. That would have
Right.
been great to know,
Yep. Yep.
like just stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and I love first the saying that you said, you get out what you put into it. I say that all the time. And I have a team of like 11 people as well here. And that's what I say when people aren't happy with their results, or they are happy with their results, I'm like, well, you put it in. If you put that in, you're going to get out what you put in all the time. And I think that's just self-employed mentality as well. As a self-employed individual, nobody does it for you. If you're not doing it, it's not going to get done. So if you put in a little bit, you're going to get a little bit back. But as far as what were you just saying about the second thing?
Oh, I'm trying to think here now. So I was kind of just relating everything to your headphones, right?
Oh,
And all I was thinking about was, if I was in that situation, I worked at Best Buy for many years, and we would
right.
always do that. This is our return policy. However, they would, we would make exceptions.
Mhm.
And to kind of give you an idea, so when I used to work at Certified Radio and I used to be the general manager there, we'd have people come back like 30 days later going, I want to return this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Take it back. And the sales guy would be all mad. Like, you just took money out of my pocket. We're commission, right?
Right.
And I go, yeah, but this is going to turn into a positive experience, because that person, A, doesn't want that car starter or car audio system or whatever anyways, or B, someone else might have bought them one, whatever. We can't control what's going on with them. Or C, maybe they lost confidence in dealing business with it. At the end of the day, if we tell them, sorry, you have to keep that, they're going to go to dinner. I needed that $400 back. I can't pay my car loan now, whatever, right? Now it's turning into negativity. That person is now going to complain about us to other people, which turns into a negative experience, right? Or B, we if we would just give them their money back, right? You weren't even asking for your money back. You were saying, hey, I just want in-store credit to get something that's going to operate the way I'd expect it to do. I asked for the best
Right.
headphones. I didn't
Work.
get the best headphones,
Right.
And for me, if a client says to me, hey, I want the best dash camera, I go, do you want the best dash camera or something that's suited for your lifestyle? And if I just said, well, this one's the best and took their money, and then they go, well, but it doesn't do this feature that I wanted. Oh, well, yeah, the best one doesn't have that feature, but it has all this other stuff. Yeah,
Right.
but I specifically wanted that feature. Well, it's my job to ask those questions to try and
Exactly.
advise. And the way I look at it, the person who sold you the headphones didn't properly advise you.
No, and that's a great thing because when somebody says, I want the best, well, everybody's version of the best is different.
Oh
Because
yeah.
what I think the best isn't necessarily what you think is going to be the best. But when you specifically say they're 4 kids playing on video games, talking with their friends, the microphone doesn't work. It's very low. And then there's no volume button for kids to go up or down. You got to go in. If you're on the computer, manually use the volume button through there. But it's exactly, it's listening to what that client or that customer is telling you so that you can give them the best product. And kind of going back to what you were saying before, when somebody comes in and they're saying, well, this is what I want, you can recommend what what you have or what works, what doesn't work. But at the end of the day, you're going to listen to what they want and say, okay, perfect, because they're the ones buying it and it's for them and they know themselves best. So you're just there to accommodate, to give them and tell them all the knowledge. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that are making the final decision. So that's awesome because that's how I work as well. I can recommend, but at the end of the day, I'll say, these are your options. I know this is what you were looking for, and let them make that decision. So it's not like, well, I gave you this and they're not happy with it. No, I gave you all things, you decided. So if you don't like it, that's what you picked. But if you don't like it, we can change something else about it and find, different ones. But listening to your clients at the end of the day is 100% the best way to go, because that's where it's like, okay, they got what they wanted and you inform them so they know what they got.
Yeah. And I mean, the problem is like when you're talking about going to Sprint there,
Mm-hmm.
this is the problem of the difference between like kids and adults. We allow rules to shape our life, right? Green means go, red means stop, right? Oh, it's day 15, not day 14. A manager can easily override that. Majority of all these computer systems will allow you to do it anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they make it look like that because they're looking at a small picture of it's going to affect our sales today. Oh, now I'm going to have to do extra paperwork to send these headphones away defective, right?
Right.
When realistically, and everybody thinks that they all think the same. They all think that everybody goes and looks at all the Google reviews, and they get stuck in this mindset that everybody thinks that, but everybody's different. There's a lot of people that are like literally going to call me and take my word on it, that my word is God, that this dash camera is going to do everything that they want it to do.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Another person's going to go and watch 4 hours of YouTube videos, and Bob in Australia said this one's the best, and Dave here and Anna in Vegas said that this one's the best.
right.
And then I don't know which one to buy, but all of them are saying these 4 different ones are the best, and they're all confused and they don't know which one they should get, right? And that's the thing, right? So then they call you, or like, what do you think I should get? This one, or this one? And you have to try and help them out the best you can and not be constrained by these rules. And that's why I always say, get a kid to look at something, and your kids probably look at it and go, but I don't get it. The headphones are not good. And they sold it to you knowing it wasn't good. Why wouldn't they just give you your money back or give us something different? And that's probably how a kid will look at it. And meanwhile,
Right.
we're adults and we're going, well, there's rules, right? Right.
Well, well, and I get the rules, and that's what I looked at it. And I was like, when the guy was like, "Can we help you with anything else?" But I was I was serious. I was like, "Yeah, I know that I will never buy here again. Like, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to beg you to do it if that's what you say." The manager was standing right there, said the exact same thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Great! I've been a client of your guys's for 20 years. I buy $500 for 2 headphones, and you can't help me. That's fine. I will just never shop here again. Done." If you want to treat me like that, cool. I'm not going to argue, but I will not be back.
Well, I know you got to get going here soon. So I'm wondering if you have any final words of wisdom.
No, just besides, I love this. I love what you're doing because at the end of the day, if people all did their business, because we're all here doing different businesses that are helping people. Essentially, even if you're you're selling furniture, you're helping people put things into their house. But if you listen to your clients, what they're looking for as a whole, it just makes the world a lot easier. I know that when I go shopping and I'm like, I'm looking for a red dress. And the worker's like, there's this black dress, there's this green dress. And I'm like, no, I'm looking for a red dress. Like, if you just listen, things will go a lot smoother. And if your heart and your mind and what you're doing is in the right place and you're putting people first, that's the way it should be across the board, whether you're, selling health insurance or dash cams or furniture or cars, it's just, that will make people happy. That will make people coming back to you. So customer service, again, I just think that it's great that you're talking about this because I think Vegas, we're a little spoiled because a lot of it is with customer service. We have a lot of tourism. So the quality that we get at restaurants is typically high with customer service and whatnot, because if it's not, then people aren't going to come here. And that's where a lot of people are making their money, is off of tips. So they're going to be, they're going to be really nice and really good at their job.
They got to be on, right?
Yeah. But just as a whole, it's putting clients first and not thinking about the money, because if you do it in the right manner, the money and all that flows with it. But that's when you have the right mindset and you're doing the right things. You're not focused on money. You're focused on taking good care of the client or what you're doing. Everything else flows with it.
That's awesome. No, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your information with us. And yeah, it's wicked. Yeah, it's awesome. Great conversation. And yeah, we'll end it. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too.
Thanks for listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Ben, check out Benjamin Del Grosso on LinkedIn, at Safe Drive Solutions on Instagram, or www.safedrivesolutions.ca online. We'll see you next time.